The slides 1 to 80 in the provided document present a comprehensive overview of the law on obligations and contracts under the Philippine civil law. It begins by defining the law on obligations and contracts as a branch of private law that governs the rights and duties between persons in society, with sources including laws, contracts, quasi contracts, delicts, and quasi delicts. The Civil Code of the Philippines, specifically Republic Act number 386, is established as the primary legal source, codifying private law concerning family, property, and obligations. Key concepts such as obligations being juridical necessities to give, to do or not to do something, and the distinction between real and personal obligations are introduced. The roles of debtor and creditor are explained alongside examples of civil obligations and reasons why people borrow money, highlighting the debtor's legal duty to repay. Our lecture last meeting also elaborates on the types and sources of obligations, emphasizing that obligations must have active and passive subjects, an object or prestation, and an efficient cause that binds parties legally. Various forms of obligations arise from contracts, quasi contracts, criminal offenses, and quasi delicts, each governed by specific laws and principles. The creation, validity, and enforceability of contracts are discussed extensively, focusing on the essential requisites for contracts, including consent, object certain, and costs of obligation. Articles from the Civil Code cover offer and acceptance, stipulations about the form of contracts, and the freedom of parties to set terms as long as they comply with legal and moral standards. The document underscores the principle that contracts create binding obligations equivalent to law between the parties' members and must be performed in good faith. Finally, we discussed last meeting the interpretation of contracts and the grounds for rescission or annulment. Interpretation principles prioritize the parties' true intent, ordinary meanings of words, customs, and the contract's context. Rescissible contracts, those vulnerable due to lesion, fraud, or other specified grounds, may be annulled through proper legal action with emphasis on fairness and protection of parties' rights. The document also explains voidable contracts, unenforceable contracts, and void contracts, detailing the effects of incapacity, fraud, or illegality on the validity and enforceability of contracts. Remedies such as reformation of instruments, annulment, and ratification are outlined, including timelines and legal consequences. We closed with the legal effects of electronic documents under the Electronic Commerce Act, recognizing electronic contracts' validity and enforceability when meeting prescribed criteria. We're now going to continue with our lesson. What is Article 1356 or 1356 of the Civil Code? Article 1356 of the Civil Code of the Philippines states that contracts shall be obligatory in whatever form they may have been entered into, provided all the essential requisites for their validity are present. However, when the law requires a contract to be in a specific form for it to be valid or enforceable, or to be proved in a certain way, that requirement is absolute and indispensable. In such cases, the rights of the parties to waive such formality cannot be exercised. Essentially, the form of a contract is essential in three scenarios. One, when required by law for the contract's validity, such as solemn or formal contracts. Two, when required for the contract's enforceability, such as those covered by the statute of frauds. And three, when required by convenience by law. The article emphasizes that even if all essential requisites are met, Failure to comply with required formalities can render a contract invalid or unenforceable. An example provided that a donation of real property must be in a public instrument, and a party cannot be compelled to execute such a document if the law mandates it. However, a deed of sale of land, even if in a private instrument, can be valid and enforceable. This underscores the absolute nature of form requirements in specified contracts under the law. Article 1357 of the Civil Code of the Philippines states that if the law requires a document or other special form for certain acts and contracts, the contracting parties may compel each other to observe that form once the contract has been perfected. This right to demand compliance with the required form may be exercised simultaneously with the action upon the contract. In other words, when a specific formal requirement is mandated by law for a contract to be valid or enforceable, such as a special kind of document, the parties have the legal right to insist that required form to be followed even after the contract is already perfected. If the law requires a document or other special form, okay, I have already discussed that. Article 1357 states that if the law requires a document or other special form for certain acts and contracts, the contracting parties may compel each other to observe that form once the contract has been perfected. So, this right to demand compliance with the required form may be exercised simultaneously with the action upon the contract. In other words, when a specific formal requirement is mandated by law for a contract to be valid or enforceable, such as a special kind of document, the parties have the legal right to insist that the required form be followed. So, for example, um, Jack donated his land to Jade through a private instrument, and Jade accepted the donation in the same private instrument. However, Jade wants to register the donation, but the registration requires the donation to be in a public instrument. Jack refuses to execute the public instrument. The question is, can Jack be compelled to execute the necessary document? The answer is no, because according to Article 1356 or 1356, complementary to 1357, the donation of real property must be in a public instrument, and Jack cannot be compelled to execute if he refuses. On the other hand, if Jack sold his land to Jade in a private instrument and Jade wants to register the land, Jack can be compelled because a deed of sale is valid and enforceable even if it is in a private instrument form. Article 1358. Article 1358 of the Civil Code of the Philippines specifies the types of acts and contracts that must be in a public document. So these include: one, acts and contracts that create, transmit, modify, or extinguish real rights over immovable property, such as the sale of real property or an interest therein. Two, the cessation, repudiation, or renunciation of the hereditary rights or those of the conjugal partnership of gains. Three, the power to administer property or any other power that involves an act appearing or that should appear in a public document or that may prejudice a third person. And four, the cession of action or rights proceeding from an act appearing in a public document. Additionally, all other contracts where the amount involved exceeds 500 pesos must appear in writing, even if it is in private document. However, sales of goods, chattels, or things in action are governed by specific articles. This article establishes the importance of public documents in ensuring the validity and enforceability of certain contracts, especially those affecting immovable property and significant rights. In the Civil Code of the Philippines, the provision that All other contracts where the amount involved exceeds 500 pesos must appear in writing, even a private one, means that any contract involving a transaction amounting to more than 500 pesos must be documented in writing to be valid and enforceable. This writing serves as evidence of the contract's terms and the parties' agreement, even if the document is private instrument, meaning not a public or notarized document. However, there is an exception concerning contracts involving the sale of goods, chattels or personal property, or things in action, rights to receive something like debts or claims. So these types of contracts are governed by specific rules under Articles 1403, number 2, and 1405 of the Civil Code, which are part of the Statute of Frauds provisions. These articles set forth the requirements for such contracts, including when they must be in writing and how oral evidence may be acceptable under certain conditions, as well as the concept of ratification when written requirements are not met. So the rule emphasizes the need for written contracts when significant amounts are involved to prevent disputes, but it recognizes special provisions for sales of goods and similar transactions under related articles of the civil law. In the Civil Code, the statement means that any contract involving an amount exceeding 500 pesos must be in writing to be valid. This includes private written contracts, emphasizing the importance of having proof of the agreement when the transaction involves a substantial sum. The purpose of this requirement is to prevent disputes and provide clear evidence of the contract's terms. However, contracts specifically related to the sale of goods, chattels, again, personal property, or things in action, like rights to receive money or claims, are governed by the provisions of Articles 1403, number 2, and 1405 of the Civil Code. These articles fall under the Statute of Frauds, which sets specific rules for these types of contracts, including the conditions under which they must be in writing and how oral evidence may or may not be accepted. This distinction recognizes that while most contracts above a certain value require written form, sales and transactions involving movable property or rights have their own guidelines to balance enforceability and practical commerce needs. The legal recognition of electronic data messages and electronic documents under Republic Act number 8792, known as the Electronic Commerce Act, enacted June 14th, year 2000, establishes that any electronic data message or electronic document used in commercial and non-commercial activities has legal validity and can be enforced just like traditional paper documents. This means that electronic forms of communication, agreements, contracts, and records, whether conducted domestically or internationally, are recognized by law as equivalent to their paper counterparts. The law specifically prohibits denying the validity or enforceability of a message or document solely because it exists in electronic form or is referenced within an electronic data message. So let's define. An electronic data message is any information generated, sent, received, or stored electronically that intends to have a legal effect or be part of legal dealings. Example: suppose Company A and Company B negotiate and finalize a contract via email and store the agreement as an electronic document. Under Republic Act 8792, this electronic contract is legally valid and enforceable. Neither party can refuse to honor the contract just because it was exchanged and signed electronically instead of on paper. So, this law facilitates digital transactions and commerce by giving electronic documents the same legal standing as printed documents, supporting modern business practices and reducing reliance on physical paperwork. Electronic documents are legally recognized to have the same effect, validity, and enforceability as traditional paper documents or legal writings. When the law requires a document to be in writing, an electronic document fulfills this requirement. If it maintains its integrity and reliability and can be authenticated for future reference, specifically, this means one, the electronic document must remain complete and unaltered, except for authorized changes or normal changes that occur during communication, storage, or display. Two, the electronic document must be reliable, considering the purpose for which it was created and all relevant circumstances. Let's continue. Uh, The provisions in paragraph A apply regardless of whether the law requires a document for an obligation or if the law merely establishes consequences for the failure to present or maintain the original form of a document. So this means that electronic documents fulfill legal requirements both when a law explicitly demands a written document and when failing to produce or keep the original document could trigger specific legal consequences. C. When the law requires that a document be presented or preserved in its original form, this requirement is considered fulfilled by an electronic document if 1. There is reliable assurance that the integrity of the electronic document has been maintained from the moment it was first finalized, meaning it has remained complete and unaltered in any authorized way since its creation. Two, the electronic document can be displayed or shown to the person to whom it must be presented. So, for purpose of legal evidence, an electronic document with these qualities is treated as a functional equivalent of a traditional written document under existing laws. So, electronic documents that maintain integrity and can be reliably displayed satisfy legal requirements for original documents and hold the same evidentiary weight as paper documents. That's it for today, and see you in the next.